Hi, I'm Farah Amara, CEO and co-founder of FreshSource.
And I'm Omar Amara, COO and co-founder of FreshSource. Let me tell you a bit about John. John is a local apple farmer based in Ithaca, New York. He had a small piece of land, which was passed down from generation to generation. And even though he has a passion for farming, he does suffer from a few issues. First of all, having no access to market, having limited finance, as well as limited agri-inputs. And all these issues result in John only receiving 20% of the market value for his produce. So why does this happen, you may ask? Well, it happens because there's a traditional agri-chain which is very inefficient. It goes from a farmer to a village trader to an aggregator to then another trader, a wholesale market, and then finally reaching the businesses. Meaning that a crop that starts at the farm costing 5 cents can end up costing businesses 30 cents. And all this while 45% of the food being produced and transported is lost. On top of that, there's usually a markup of 452% to the end consumer. So what does FreshSource do? We empower farmers by connecting them to fair, transparent, and modern markets. We take this traditional inefficient value chain and transform it into this, taking from the farmer and supplying directly to the businesses. We provide the farmers with demand planning, access to finance, as well as agri-inputs. All this results in a 20% increase in possible revenues. And on the other hand, we provide the businesses with convenience, cost savings, as well as price transparency. All this resulting in a reduction of 15% in possible costs. We do this by ensuring a holistic cold chain, reducing the food waste average to 2% through the use of data. So how does it work? We register farmers, taking into account their harvesting calendar, their quantities and quality. We then arrange to collect the crops and make the payments. And from the other side, businesses place their orders after they register with us, and it's delivered directly to their business. So what have we done since launching in our launch country in Egypt, January 2019? We've acquired over 300 users, increased our basket size by 150%, as well as achieving a customer lifetime value 110 times our customer acquisition cost.
And the impact we've had is just as impressive, as we've been able to generate 1,500 jobs, partner with 300 local farms, allowing them to generate $240,000 in extra income and save our country 200 tons of food. Our impact is proven, and so is our business model, as in just these few months, we've generated $670,000 in revenue. And while you might think that this issue is far from home, it actually hits very close to the heart, as we've seen the US numbers very close, with 35% of food loss, resulting in 131 billion pounds of food lost, and at a value of $161 billion. What about the market size? Well, the US market size is valued at $105 billion, and New York equates to the whole of Egypt at $6 billion. So, why New York? Well, it's a leading agriculture state with 34,000 farms, spreading 7 million acres. It is the perfect beachhead for FreshSource's global expansion. And how will we start? Well, it is the Big Apple after all. And synergies here perfectly exist, as Egypt is the third top importer of US apples in the world, importing $300 million worth of apples just last year. And New York produces 30 million bushels of apples per year. And that's not it, as 20% of FreshSource sales are purely US apples. And the problem isn't unique to apples, as Peter Martin from Martin Farms explains that he's considering to stop planting cabbage after 75 years due to the diminishing profitability. Cabbage, one of New York's top crops, bringing in the area $100 million a year. And what's after that? sweet corn, grapes, onions, tomatoes. 5, very important crops that bring in $300 million a year. And what about our impact? This is something we're very excited to share with you, as FreshSource is a very labor-rich organization. We'll be able to generate 50 direct jobs, 1,000 total indirect and direct jobs, touching the lives of 6,000 New York citizens. And where will we start? The Finger Lakes is the perfect place, and not just because Omar and I used to visit his children, but because it provides the perfect supply and demand with 7,600 farms and 300 F&B organizations. Not just that, it's actually a quarter of New York agri-outputs and has a wide variety of crops. And what have we done so far? Well, we've connected with farmers, many of which are apple farmers. We've connected to businesses who are ready to start working with us as soon as we launch, and as well cold storage sites. Last year, we generated $80,000 in revenue, and this year, we're on track to generate $876,000 in revenue. Next year, we'll be on track to do $5.7 million and doubling it that the year after with $12 million. And so, let me tell you a bit more about us. Well, we're obviously siblings. My background is mostly in management with P&G and London School of Economics, as well as Endeavor Global. Omar was in Goldman Sachs in financial technology, as well as managing Dole distribution of foods in Egypt. And we're born and bred in this industry, with our family business launching in the 80s. What about our management team? We have very strong individuals with tech and data experience, customer success, agriculture, FMCG, with backgrounds in US multinationals, such as IBM and Uber. And our advisors are just as strong, with Linda Rottenberg, CEO and co-founder of Endeavor, Khaled Ismail, our first investor, who had his early exit to Dell Corp in the 90s, Amin Abaza, the former Minister of Agriculture in Egypt, and Hassan Abdullah, head financier with over 30 years in banking experience. Our work on farm support and generating jobs has been recognized by the Food and Agriculture Organization, as we were awarded the first African success story and most innovative African business. It's also been recognized by the World Bank Group Digital Agriculture of the Year Award and by Standard Chartered Bank. We want to bring upstate to the rest of the world and position it as a leader in food security, saving millions of tons of food and being a front runner in the global food trade. So, how will your investment grow upstate New York? Well, with $250,000, we'll be investing the same amount into generating jobs from our labor and reaching 40 farmers. With $500,000, we'll be investing even more than that and investing $600,000 in labor, reaching 120 farmers. And with $1 million, we'll be nearly doubling that, investing $1.7 million, generating around 1,000 total of jobs and reaching 400 farmers. And so, while you might think people like John are small in nature, they actually comprise 96% of New York farmland. And investing in us means transforming the lives of 400 farmers, increasing their income by 40%, and resulting in over 1,000 indirect and direct jobs. Don't take it just from us. George, one of our main farmers, says, FreshSource has enabled me to make more money for the same amount of crops. I'm not forced to accept any offer now. I have respect, and I make more money for me and my 2 girls. Thank you.
Great job, FreshSource. And now, over to 10 minutes of Q&A with our judging panel. Excellent job. First up, I think we have Mary Shellman with a question.
Hi, thanks, Farah and Omar, for that really interesting look at your business, and congratulations for what you've achieved in Egypt. It seems really, really substantial there. But I guess I want to start with you just thinking about going back to the basics, right? And I'm just having trouble getting my mind around what exactly your business is. how does it work? What are you selling? Are you a software company? Are you a logistics company? Who owns the product as it moves through? Are you actually buying it and then selling it to the customer or the restaurant or the retailer? Kind of how do you make sure that the quality is there? What the customer wanted is actually what was produced on the farm and delivered through. So can you just start out by explaining that part of it to me, that very basic part?
Sure. So basically what we do is we work with the farmers. So we partner with the farmers and we have different ways of partnering with them. So the most effective way we've done it is contract farming, where we work with them on providing agriculture inputs, providing financial instruments so that we're able to get them the best deal. We then own the product. So we buy it from them and we grade it in our facilities. So we have our graders, our packagers, and usually when you do contract farming, you have different grades. So we're able to package it and make sure that we get the quality that's desired by our target customer. So for instance, if it's a juice manufacturer, we'd give them a lower grade because that's what they look for. They look for more price sensitivity. And then if it's a retailer, then we go for the class A. So we own the product throughout the process. That enables us to control how much we're able to give the farmer, so how much money we can increase their income by, as we're the ones in control of the price. And then we're also able to reduce the costs for businesses as well.
Okay, great. So, and just to follow up on that, so doesn't that mean that then you have a huge working capital requirement, because now you're buying product from the farmer and you're having to hold it and then you're matching it out to these customers?
So actually, that's where our data comes into play. So we're able to forecast.
I can't hear you.
Demand. Oh, can you hear me? No? You can't hear me? Hello? Hello?
There you go.
1 second.
Now I can hear you.
There you
Okay, now it's good?
You're good now.
Okay. So actually, that's where our data comes into play. So being able to use our forecasting and the consumption patterns for our customers and enables us to really hone down how much of the quantity that we need. So we use that to go and find the farm and find the right number of acres that we want to do contract farming with. So we wouldn't oversupply, so we wouldn't take on too much of the burden. We use that to really feed into our decisions.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Excellent questions. Over to Zoe, I think has the next question up.
I do. Good morning from the East Coast of the US. I hope you're both doing well. Thank you for the presentation and for being involved in this pitch competition. My question to you both was, certainly I think where you are, it's I don't know much about the farming and agriculture landscape in Egypt, but I do know a little bit about the agriculture landscape in the US. So I saw your couple slides about how you purport that FreshSource will provide jobs in upstate New York. What do you sort of know about the New York agriculture kind of industry and market, and why do you think that FreshSource would be a successful partner to farmers here?
Sure. So thank you for that question. We've actually done quite sufficient research on the area and on the agriculture. And the good thing about New York that facilitated this, a lot of these organizations and this information is found online. So we've connected with farmers, we've connected with businesses, and we've connected with like farmer alliances or associations. And we're actually already in contact with them on how much they make currently for their crops, so how much they usually sell a pound for, and we compare that with how much we would be buying it and the exporting logistics. So we're really able to find these synergies that exist between the different agriculture chains. And something also that is very interesting about agriculture is that it's basically a global network. So prices in Egypt can be influenced by prices in the US and India and Denmark. It's a very connected and just intricate network that all comes into play. So we believe that these connections and these networks will really help us be able to get the best deals and the best opportunities for these farmers.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's go to Pravina, who I think has a question.
Thank you. Good evening, because I know it's evening there in Israel, so thank you for taking the time. A quick question. How are you actually planning to launch? Because I understand, with the pandemic and everything, you're working with farmers associations. What's your logistics? Because, you have cold storage and you got to get them to customers, and it's really tough. Egypt is much smaller than New York State. It's big, it's broad. So what's your logistics and launch strategy? And apologies for messing up time differences.
So what we've done is that, our great mentor has already connected us with Rochester individuals that are really connected in the area. And we're already talking to cold storage facilities that we can do deals with. Something else is that we connected with the New York Apple Association, and we were able to get the prices from them. So we know that, for instance, an apple farmer sells a pound of apples at wholesale price for 60 cents. Actually, we would be able to increase that price by nearly 89% and take it for $1.20 and still have our own profit margin. So we're already in talks with them, and for the corona issues, we hopefully we'd be able to relocate just one or two of our key teammates, myself, Omar, our co-founder, and then we build the team from there. So we want essentially to have mostly local individuals for our tech teams. So we want that to be based from there, and also for New York to be our main hub for exporting in that whole area. So a lot of bananas that come in from South America, we want all that to be from New York, from upstate New York.
Great. Thank you.
Excellent. Let's go over to Laura Peterson.
Hello. Good morning here. Good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm an actual farmer here in New York State, so I'm trying to figure out how what you're doing would benefit somebody like us. We already work with processors who contract with us and let us know how much they want us to grow, and then we ship directly to them and they pay us. And we also work with wholesalers in Fresh Market, where it's basically them in between us and the ultimate consumer grocery store or whatever. Is your model focused mostly on exporting products from the U.S. to Egypt or somewhere else in the world, or do you think that you would be able to help farmers with sales here in the U.S.?
So we want to focus on the main area that we'd be able to make the biggest impact to increase farmers' income as well as job creation is exporting. Egypt already imports around $300 million of apples, of US apples a year. Other than that, we have connections as we already export to different areas. We have connections in Europe and we have connections in other countries. And we really want to focus on building this global network based from New York farmers. So that's our main goal. And also working with the farmers to develop their agriculture outputs. So using the data, using the insights. So while some farmers, they can be connected to different wholesale markets, we want to work with them on what are the best crops or what are the best prices that they can be getting in the different markets available for them.
Great. Let's
And
stop
just
it there. Great job, FreshSource. Excellent job. Let's shout out to them on the chat, folks. Thank you, judges.